The last several months, I've been diving into a subject within my own personal journey and sort of sitting in a state of reflection. And it is the subject of the real dark side of spirituality and entering into the dark feminine and the way that it manifested in my personal life. Hello, my name is Abigail, Energy Light Healing. Let's dive in. So, first and foremost, I feel that spirituality and the journey of spirituality is truly beautiful. I personally have found so much healing, so much growth, so many moments of awareness, a lot of catalytic moments that have propelled me from where I used to be in certain aspects of my life that were very stuck, in certain limited narratives and a lot of scarcity, a lot of father, mother wounding, you name it. I've kind of journeyed through it. And it's allowed me to get to this point of understanding myself better, welcoming in compassion, really understanding the power of my femininity, embracing aspects of my masculinity, and so forth. And it's a journey that continues to unfold. But something that I've been sitting with lately is coming to an understanding how, at times, not always, but at times, certain aspects of spirituality, especially when it comes to diving into the feminine essence, keeps us in a lot of loop patterns as well. Because you see, when we make anything into an idolized thing, right? When we feel like, oh, the matrix is this horrible, terrible thing, we enter into a whole new matrix, which is spirituality or religion or you name it, fill in the blank. Um, when it came to understanding and witnessing and observing certain parts of the spiritual narrative, lately it began to feel a bit troublesome to me, began to feel a little bit uncomfortable for me because everything was sort of dictating that feminine power could only be achieved if we were in complete fluidity and trust. And I understand what is meant with these narratives. I understand, where this messaging is coming from, but I feel that we do ourselves massive injustice when we don't also honor the whole soul self of us, which we aren't just feminine. We aren't just meant to be in flow. We aren't just meant to trust and let go. We can do that. We can absolutely live that way. I know I tend to. I love the way that my life gets to flow and go in its ebbs and flows. But our masculinity gets to come in and assist us in these actionable items. This inspired divine guidance comes in with that purpose. It says, look, here are the signals, here are the synchronicities, here is, the different passageways. I'm going to give you the tools for that. And oftentimes, what ends up happening, at least what happened to me, is that I would step into states of avoidance. And it's like, I'm just trusting the universe and everything is going to come to me and everything gets to come to me. And let me tell you, a lot has, but it required me to meet it right where it was. It's a journey, right? So I was journeying to certain energetic physical points within my path so that I can meet myself there, the other iterations of myself there. It wasn't just, I'm going to let this flow, sort of guide me there. There is always a GPS point, a directional point that we're guided towards, and that requires actionable steps. So right now, I feel that in the wellness spiritual community, there's been this uprising for the last several years, right? Of just the feminine is rising, there is this feminine empowerment and all that stuff, and step into your femininity and feel into your wildness and sensuality. Yes, I'm a huge advocate of that. But I feel that it's also just as important for us to embrace, to welcome in, to understand our masculine foundational pillars, right? Really observe, take a raw, honest look at your life and really witness certain points of your particular existence right now that may not feel as safe, where you feel a bit unbalanced, where there is this kind of directionless space. And listen, there are seasons for everything. It is perfectly fine to feel as if you don't always know where you are headed, but allow intentionality, allow mindfulness to be a welcomed friend on your journey and on your path. Um, for me, when I began my spiritual journey a few years back, The first thing that happened was my feminine was highly activated because I had been navigating under such rigid masculinity, a lot of wounded masculine templates that a woman can at times have, right? Where I felt like I had to micromanage every single part of my life. There was no space for flow. So when spirituality entered my life, I went deep into the flow of it. I allowed myself to sort of sink and just, oh, it's beautiful here. And it was, but there was also a lot of suppression that occurred in those spaces. There was a lot of avoidance that occurred in those spaces. There were spaces of self where I entered into a lot of fantastical thinking, and not allowing myself to truly integrate and embody and ground in a lot of these things that I was being activated on. It's beautiful for us to travel into these astral realms and go and discover components of our multidimensionality. But it is something completely different to grab those beautiful golden nuggets and actually integrate them into our physical existence. And the reason why we're here. We are human beings. We're being in our human experience. We're embracing the human component of our journey and of our path, where we get to face uncomfortable conversations, where we get to face challenging situations, where we get an opportunity to experience what expansion feels like, what pain feels like, what sadness feels like, what frustration and anger feels like. These are just as important energies as the what we call high vibing love and joy and happiness and peace and gratitude. Yes, the polarity and dynamics of polarity in experience is important for our human experience on this journey, on this path. So, if you are currently on your spiritual path, where awakening has entered into your life, and there has been a bit of that jolt of like, I am just floating in the cosmos. Nothing wrong with that. Please enjoy it. I think that part of it is really, truly beautiful. Um, but I would love to welcome into your field moments where you actually sit with the integration process of it, where you get to welcome in your actionable steps, where you get to witness, your life, not from a linear standpoint, but just from a space of let me allow myself to be in the frequency of which my desire will meet me. It's an intention, right? You're setting yourself from where you are, where you are going, and saying, ah, got it. Yes, I will be in flow and I will allow myself to be in the expression of being and feeling. And here are certain steps that are going to assist me along the way so that way you don't step into the different kind of void that happens, right? Which is this lost feminine that is out of control and has no footing and, is constantly feeling as if they're being chased, by this like lion or bear. And it's like, you're constantly like, you'll be in this really beautiful high, and all of a sudden the realities of your humanness step in, and you're just like, oh, that tension that you feel, that chest compression, the tension on your shoulders. The only true way for you to step into that feminine flow, right? Where you can be in that fluidity where you're, you know, um, where you begin to channel, in this very fluid way, and, your intuition, from your sacral and your heart, get activated, is to allow your inner masculine to step in and say, ooh, I got you. Yep, right here. Let me go ahead and provide, this beautiful space so you can flow, so you can be in fluidity, so you can express yourself, so you can be in wellness, so you can be in softness. Here are certain things that are going to allow you to access that fully. Yeah. So for today, just a mindful moment for you. Allow yourself a little bit of self inventory. You get to really talk to yourself. Stop avoiding these uncomfortable conversations with yourself. Really be raw, honest. If you're going to be with anyone, right? If you do tend to be a bit of that avoidant, where you step into states even of anxiety and you're just like, I really don't want to face that. Allow yourself to sink into softness with yourself. Enter with a lot of compassion when it comes to these spaces, too. but have the uncomfortable conversation. Face these depths of you so you can ascend, right? We always say that. We're like, we want to ascend, like in spiritual jargon, right? We want to ascend into all of these dimensionalities and densities and really acquire, like all of these different timelines that we've navigated through. And let me channel all this stuff. Beautiful, beautiful. But allowing yourself to really face a lot of these uncomfortable truths and going into the root of yourself, going into the depth of you, really understanding where a lot of these mindsets and lack, scarcity, fear, shame, even avoidance, you know, where they actually took root within you so that you can ascend, so that you can grow with a firm foundation. Yeah, it's going to assist you along the path. I hope you enjoyed this. I will be making more content, so stay tuned. And please make sure to click the subscribe button. I love you so much. Have a beautiful day.